In this video, I'll show you how to use GeoGebra.org to find a percentile for a given percentage. So first, open up geogebra.org/classic#probability in a web browser. We'll want to go to the distribution tab and look at the standard normal distribution. So from the drop-down menu, choose normal. It should be up there at the top. I've created an example for us to follow along. I've also worked it by hand. According to a study, the average number of faces an adult can remember, recall the face and remember the name, is 150. Let's assume a population standard deviation of 30 faces and a normal model. So knowing this, we can put into GeoGebra a mean of 150. So just click in the boxes and then type. You can also push enter to kind of lock it in. We have our normal distribution. There's the mean, there's the standard deviation. You'll also notice that up in the left, you'll see that mu equals 150 and sigma equals 30 to remind us. So part D, compute the fifth percentile. So the fifth percentile means that whatever score you have, 5% of all the other scores are at or below that marker. So the lowest 5% of adults can remember how many faces. That's what we're trying to answer. So here I've sketched out a normal distribution. The mean is 150. The lowest 5% is over here in the left tail, and we need to know, what is that cutoff? How many faces is that? Is it a cutoff of 20 faces? So if you can remember up to 20 faces, you're in the lowest fifth percentile. Can you remember up to 37 faces? Does that make the lowest 5% of people? We'll find out. So in GeoGebra, going back there, we're going to use this process a little bit backwards than we've done before. We know that we want the lowest 5%, so that's going to be a left-sided probability. We could also drag the little triangle on the number line and drag it over to the left so that it's about 5%, or at least smallish, since 5% is small. And then we're going to use the commands backwards. Before, we would put in a number into the box next to the X and the parentheses and the P, and then on the right side of the equal sign, we'd get our probability answer. This time, we're going to give it a probability answer first, and then it's going to spit out a value for X. So the X is the percentile. So I'm going to type in 0.05 into the lower right box, push enter, and we will get the answer here in this box in the middle that says, if you have 100.654 faces, that is the cutoff for the lowest 5% of people to remember. So let's look at this normal distribution. We can grab the black triangle and drag it to where we think 5% might be. I'm just going to put it right about there. And that shows us that there is less people in the right tail. There's more people in the... Let's go to GeoGebra and answer this question. So before, I had put the mean of 150 and the standard deviation of 30 as our normal distribution. We need to find the area in the left tail because we want the lowest 5%. The fifth percentile says that starting from 0 going up to 5%, anyone who can remember that number of faces, whatever that cutoff is, you're in the lower 5%. So we're going to make sure that our left tail button is clicked. So that means that the purple shaded region's on the left, And then we're going to change the number in the lower right to be the percentage that we need. So this bottom statement says the probability that x is less than or equal to 150 is equal to 0.5. Well, we really need to figure out the probability that x is less than or equal to something is equal to 0.05 because it's 5%. So we'll type in 0.05, push enter, lock that in, and then a number is going to appear in that space that might have been a blank or some other number. It got changed to match. So 100.654, about 101 faces someone can remember at most if they're in the lowest 5% percentile of the data. So you might have heard things like the 95th percentile or 50th percentile if you're talking about kids' heights when they go to the doctors. It's the same idea. The percentile is how many people fit below that range, but then the other part of the question is, well, what is that percentile? So the 5th percentile is about 101 faces